Questions?
I got one, Mike. The mayor, Patrizzo, earlier talked about how the village got behind the school district to do a referendum. And if I remember right, everyone got an increase of somewhere like $800 to $1,000 on their taxes that same year. Then every year after that, 33C went for another referendum. Then finally they go to referendum, I forget the year, 2010 or whatever, and it fails. Immediately following the referendum, they built Young schools. Now my question to you guys is, that to me that was wrong because people said no. Do you believe in backdoor referendums? In other words, will you do what they did with Young School, building it after the people said no? Will you take a bond and extend it out for more term, a longer term than was left on the bond, so that the people pay for a longer time instead of retiring the bond? So what's your opinions on that? That would go for everybody.
Start with Juliet, and then come this way.
I can't speak on that issue because, again, I don't know enough about what happened there. But I don't believe in dishonesty. And if you're not going to be upfront with your constituents, you're not going to tell people what your true agenda is. I don't have any patience for that, and that's not my character. So that is not something that I would do.
As far as Young School goes, you're right. The referendum did not pass because obviously, we don't want our property taxes increased. But that does not mean that the community doesn't want our children not to have overcrowded classrooms. So I give kudos to the school board to find a way so that we don't have to reduce staff. So, at one time in my career, I had 33 students in class. That is not the way to teach a classroom. Do you know what I'm saying?
Understand.
We don't want we didn't want trailers outside. So, when you look at our community, we have a beautiful community. Do we have nice schools? Yes. Is it a safe and welcoming environment? Yes. Do we have paint peeling off the walls? No. So I think the board, I've never been on the board, I was not part of that. But what the board did, I think the board was instrumental in trying to find a way so that we wouldn't have overcrowded classrooms, that we wouldn't have, staffing reductions. So, yes, the community didn't want it. They may have wanted it, but not at the cost of increasing taxes. That's my opinion.
Katie.
I think taxes are one very important factor, but not the only factor, and you have to look at all the factors involved and make the best possible decision, both keeping the financial responsibility at hand, but also the education of the children. And it's a big decision to make. You can't just make one statement just based on raising taxes, yes or no. But of course, I believe in honesty, and I don't believe in going backdoor and doing something behind people's backs, behind the taxpayers or the Homer Glen residents' backs, of course not.
Vivian.
Ethically, what they did was wrong. The voters said no, and they backdoored it. I would never do that. I pledge today that if the voters voice an opinion on something, I will be your voice. I will not go behind your back and do something that the voters say no to. So they went around, built a school that we now have to finance every year. We have to finance the building, we have to finance the teachers, and people said no. There was room at Schilling. They could have done more work at Schilling to house those students. It's just something that's one of the issues that really bothers me about what that board did, because it's wrong. They backdoored us. They went against the people's will, and again, it's just ethically wrong.
Russ.
Yeah, I could speak on this for a half hour. First of all, I think it was illegal what they did. When I started my statement, I said we passed a 33% increase. That should have been plenty of money to have the school continue to go on. So what they did, they went for a referendum. The people said no, and they still had the money. So why would you go for a referendum, and then the people said no, and then build it? Obviously, you had the money. That doesn't irritate every taxpayer in the village. Number two, Schilling was a disaster. Schilling School was falling apart. As I stated before, I had a developer when I was mayor get Schilling sewer and water free because of the development next door, Evelyn's Gate. That saved them hundreds of thousands of dollars. What do? They build Young School on a piece of property that they had to buy when we had land from Gallagher and Henry on Parker that was given to them for a school. So what do? We buy more land, we build a new school, then we remodel Schilling. So all those kids had to go to a disastrous school that was falling apart, was a disgrace, because we had to have a new school. This is, if it doesn't make people angry how this is run, and they're saying we have to increase our levy every year, and I don't think that a young school is full.
Russ, excuse me, did you say they own the land for?
Yeah, Gallagher and Henry, when we did we had a comprehensive plan, they donated property for a school on Parker, and you'll see where there's lights there for football now. Now, I was told it was not enough land. Well, we could have negotiated with Gallagher and Henry, but that land was donated for the school. What do? We build another school across the street from another school, so you have congestion. I mean, there was no thinking. The board it's unjustified, and it's a travesty. It's a travesty.
Question.